Alright guys, so we're back with episode 10 of Documenting the Journey. I think it's the 10th, which feels like a bit of a milestone, I suppose, in some way, which is cool. Again, I haven't got the microphone set up. I'm having problems with my microphone at the moment, so we'll fix that at some point, but for now I'm just going to have to go with the iPhone level of quality. But yeah, what's been happening this week? I mean, it's been a bit of a tougher week. I've not been very well, so I've been on some medication that's been making me feel really tired and just like sick a lot of the time. So that's not been fun, and that's made things a lot harder. But it's sort of forced me in a way to slow down and reflect on what I'm doing and see if what I'm doing is actually working. Is it the right way to do things, etc., etc. So I'll kind of go through some of the points and things that I've realized about what I'm doing and what I think I might be doing wrong. Because ultimately, although I have had a few more calls and a few more things that might be coming off in the next sort of 1 to 2 weeks, still, for the amount of outreach that I'm doing, I'm not really getting the results that I feel like I should be getting in terms of the numbers, right? The amount of people I'm outreaching compared to how many are converting into calls compared to how many are converting into sales, right? So the first thing that I think I'm doing wrong, I've got I suppose 4 things I'm doing wrong or things I want to add or change, right? So the first thing is my landing page. It's actually not that good. I built it quite quickly. The design is nice, it looks pretty, but it's not particularly great in terms of selling what I do, right? So I think changing the copy on there, basically doing a bit of CRO of my own on my own site, because I've sort of just been neglecting it. It will be fine as long as I can get on calls with people and I have a site up that looks good. It should be okay. I can do let's say the sales part and the pitch on the call, and that's what I've sort of been more prepared for, let's say. So I've just been taking another look at that, even looking at the fonts that I'm using, kind of the image that I'm conveying, the words I'm using, what I'm trying to get across. So in the next few weeks, I'm not going to rush it. I'm going to start slowly rolling out, different sections to that site, so that it's a little bit more concise and targeted to who I'm talking to. That's the first thing. The second thing is refining my deck. So I do have a deck, but it's kind of again, it could be a bit better. It could be more concise in terms of the words that I'm using, and really driving home that this is a results-based, data-driven approach, and all of the good stuff that I include in there, like money-back guarantee if we don't get results within 3 months, all of that kind of stuff. Just really packing it full of value and structuring it in a better way. So that's something I'm going to be working on. More free value. So I've been offering the AI heat maps to people, not a full set, but just 1 or 2 just to show them kind of what it's about. But what I've decided is basically that the cold email strategy that I've got is not good enough. It's just, it's not convincing enough. And the reason why it's not convincing enough is because it's just some dude has just come out of nowhere. Maybe what I've written is really great. Maybe they're even interested, and some have been. But I'm not really offering anything super tangible from the outset that they can go ahead and use, and they wouldn't even need to reply to my email if they didn't want to. They could just take the value from what I've sent them and go on their merry way. So again, it's just about offering more value. So I think what I'm going to start doing is a little bit more Loom outreach. So for those of you who don't know, Loom is a tool where you can just record videos, record your screen. You can see when people open it and whatnot, and then build out a pipeline from there instead. So email people with the Loom, see if they click on the Loom. If they do click on the Loom, basically put them forward into the funnel further. Excuse me. So I think that's going to be way better. Another thing that kind of is in line with this whole sort of sales process stuff is cold calling. Now, I don't think I've ever done a cold call in my life. So I'm interested to try that out because I do have access to a lot of people's phone numbers. So I'm just going to give it a go and see what happens. Ultimately, I know if I'm going to scale this business, it's not something that I'm going to want to do myself in the long run, but it is something that I want to learn because I want to be able to say hey, I understand each aspect of my business and I know how it should be run. And I can't say that until I've nailed every single aspect, which is what I'm in the process of doing, just like refining. So I'm kind of glad I've been a bit like unwell this week, because it's really given me time to slow down, reflect on all this stuff, make some changes, or at least plan to make some changes, and then go forward, which I think is really good. I've noticed there's like a big market as well for just audits, so people don't want A/B testing, maybe they don't have the traffic for it, maybe they don't have the money for it even, but they still want some kind of conversion rate optimization tips and strategies that are tailored to their site. So I've had quite a few people who are starting out who want that service, so I'm going to offer that as well. And that comes on to like the next point I want to make, which is sectioning out the business a little bit more. So of course A/B testing is the main like aspect of the business, but then I want to add auditing as like a lower ticket item, let's say, and then also a product which I can't really talk about at the moment, which I have had in the pipeline for a while. I think I spoke about it like way back in the beginning, but a product that's more to do with conversion rate optimization people can buy. So it's kind of like a tiered approach in a way, you know. It's almost like a sales funnel, but it's also depending on where you're at in your journey. If you're like a company that's doing like tens or hundreds of thousands in revenue a month, then you're probably going to want to go for A/B testing. If you're starting out, but you still want to start out on the right foot, you want to go for the audit. And then if you are more of like a hands-on kind of person, maybe you're going to use this product. So that's sort of how I'm thinking of strategizing with it. But yeah, mainly the whole focus should really be on sales. So, you know, this whole Loom strategy, I think, is the most important thing out of everything that I've spoken about so far. So that's basically it. Now, it's been a bit tricky because I've had a lot of things to manage. Of course, the sales process, refining things, working for clients and things like that. So I've really been trying to think about like how to split up my time and what I actually want. And I suppose now this is going into more of the life section or segment of the video. And I've really been reflecting on what I want. Like, what do I want out of life? Why am I building a business anyway? And I've talked about this before, like, oh yeah, I've got some material goals that I know I need to fulfill before I can, let's say, kick back a bit more. Like, oh, I want to own property, I want to be able to do X, Y, and Z. But like, I've been thinking about it more, and you know, just having to just focus all in on work, all in on the gym, all in on this stuff, it's like, to some extent it makes you happy, but I think personally, and I've known this for myself, and I think I can see it in other people around me who are entrepreneurs, everyone is trying to fill a void. They're trying to basically be happy through what we've like associated happiness with, which is like achievement, whether that's financial achievement, whether that's just achievement within the business that you're running, or achievement in fitness or in health, or whatever it is that you are achieving. We've kind of equated that with happiness, and I don't think that's necessarily correct. So I have been like doing a massive zoom out on life and just thinking about, okay, this is interesting. How do I want to plan things out now that I'm just becoming a bit more conscious of this? You know, I don't want to just be chasing money all the time. I just don't think it's something that's healthy. Even if you do need money, even if you're not in like a financially good position, which I'll be honest, most people aren't. Most people aren't in a place where they could retire, or they've got their investments set up right so they don't really have to do so much. Most people need to work, and they need to do probably more than they're doing. But again, it's about creating this balance. How do I create this balance? And also, how do I make sure that I'm doing things that I feel good about? Because conversion rate optimization for me, and I've told people this many a time, it's not a passion business. It's a functional business. It's a cash flow business. So I've been thinking about, okay, how can I make sure that I'm doing some of the stuff that I really want to be doing after the business whilst not jeopardizing the business? And I've talked about this before, like, am I going to be spreading myself too thin? But I think it's actually a good thing to make sure that you have a couple of things on the go, so you can kind of seesaw between them when you're getting tired of one, you get refreshed by the other, that sort of thing, right? So yeah, I don't know how much I should say about that, but the other thing for me, in short, is health tech. I've talked about this many times. I actually got off a call yesterday with a guy who wants to buy one of my health tech startups that I built back in COVID. It may or may not come off. It's not going to be a massive amount of money, but it will certainly be a nice amount of money. Low 5 figures, but still good. But I really love health tech. It's something that I'm passionate about because it's something I know I'm good at, and it helps people in some way. Many of you might not know this, but I used to actually be, I had studied to be a life coach. I studied quite a lot of psychology on my own and how to do therapy on other people, and that led me down tracks of doing like meditation apps and things like that. And then I even started a channel called Vibe Shift, which is like YouTube videos and coaching. It's kind of like the life segment of this video, but more tailored to be advice than just me sort of, going on a rant about my own life in some way. And like bringing that back, I think could be an interesting thing, but in a much more structured way than it was before. And to be honest, I'm really excited about it. Like, it's the thing I'm most excited about because, building an agency, it's nice, it's going to be cash flow, it's going to be important for my future, and I understand that. But what really like sets me alight at the moment, sounds bad, not literally, but in terms of my passion, like what really gets me like feeling the drive is this. So it's like a mixture of businesses like tied into one. It's very hard to explain right now, I'm still figuring it out myself, but it's a mixture of like a product company and a software company, so like physical products and software products that are all aimed to basically make your life better in some kind of way, whether that's with productivity focus, health, wealth, relationships, all of that stuff. So it's like an all-in-one encompassing brand, and I'm really excited about how it's going to evolve, because the software product, I think there's literally nothing out there that's like this, and I think so many people, probably you guys watching as well, would be really interested in this when you see it. I started some like preliminary designs for this piece of software, and it's just like, yeah, it's pretty cool. I can't say much more than that at the moment, but yeah, that's the other thing I suppose that's really exciting me, and I think I've got to make sure I have those things that excite me, and I've got to also have my life building outside of work as well, which I think it's very hard for us as entrepreneurs to know when we're tipping off into the slightly more like, let's say, toxic ambition rather than like healthy ambition. Because toxic ambition is like, I'm literally sitting indoors all day working like for however many hours, and then just going to the gym and then coming back home and then working for more time and then going to sleep. To me, that's like kind of toxic. I'm sure there are times in life where it calls for that, and I think maybe these like next months are a bit like that for me whilst I really build this up. But I don't know, I think it's, again, I always talk about it, but it is about that balance, and that's a bit of a hint about what the software product is about as well. So that's going to be good. But yeah, all in all, I'm really excited for next week because I'm going to be off this medication, which has really fucked me up, to be honest. And I haven't been able to go to the gym and stuff like that, so I'm excited to get back training. It's going to be cool. A few things planned. Probably going to book Portugal hopefully next week. We'll see. Not to go next week, but just book it. Anything else going on? I don't think so. It's really just this acquisition that's quite interesting. So the acquisition I can talk about a little bit before I cut the video off. It's a company that I started called Alignr, ALIGNR, app.com, and it's basically a posture recognition like piece of software. So it just runs in the background, and it basically uses like facial recognition and like posture recognition to understand like if you're slouching in your chair, whether you're craning your neck, and it gives you alerts in real time as you're working to like correct your posture, which is effectively better than posture correctors, because posture correctors, they just hold you in a certain position, but it's not training your muscles to actually have a better posture. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see where the other guy, if he does acquire it, can take it. It's not something I wanted to carry on because I don't want to be focusing on this product specifically. The approach that I'm going to take is much more of a general approach than just like posture for what I want to do. So that's the reason, but it's a really cool app. Check it out if you want to. And yeah, I'm excited to see where that acquisition goes. It'd be very helpful financially as well. So yeah, I think that's where I'm going to leave this one. I don't think there's anything else to speak about in my notes. No, I think that's it. I think we're good. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Please like and subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.